continue, sharing that one, going to slideshow from the beginning. Okay, so here we are in the slideshow. Oh, Ali's is just joining us. So Will, if you can control the join us from here on in, it'll be great. So as advertised, this is called Selling Without Selling. And I've subtitled it When Your Business Won't Survive Without Sales. Well, that's actually a joke because it won't. We do what we say, so that phone site is actually live, so you can scan it and find more than you want to know about Melville marketing. And I've included the link at the bottom for the dinosaurs. But that's what I'm going to be talking about. There will be some mind shifting stuff going on, so away we go. So the first thing I thought we should do is put sales into context, because although most people would try and argue, let me just move that out the way. There we are. Sales is actually one aspect of marketing, and it does not exist independent from marketing. And in fact, marketing is what what decides what the sales process should be relative to the marketplace, and it sets the scene and the situation for the salesperson. So when the salesperson goes to a meeting, ideally marketing would have made the appointment, told the client what the agenda is, but they will also have done promotions and advertising so that the client has an idea about what the business does. They have an idea about how the business is, because if the salesperson has to start from so far back, they've got to do all that as well. It just adds extra load and it makes life difficult. But the full set is that the 6 lines is about how marketplaces behave. This is the marketplace you operate in. Promotions is about how you tell everybody about what you're doing. Sales are the methods you use to achieve sales. R&D is about new products. It's about understanding your competition and their environment, which is what salespeople need to do as well. So R&D will tell sales what the competition are doing and what they're up against and what to sell against and so on. Distribution is how you get what you're doing out to the clients, right place, right time, and so on. Because obviously, this is about customer service. So if your customer service is no good, doesn't matter how good the promotions and sales are, you go nowhere. Finance, there's no point in doing it unless you're making money. And this is about the management information numbers. So cost of sale, number of quotes per sale, cost of quotes, all that stuff. This is about the future because the marketplace changes all the time. But the important point is that what I'm talking about today is just the sales bit to all of this. But if you're running a business, you need to do all of this as well. So just to really put the cat among the pigeons. So what's wrong with selling? Well, people say, well, oh, I don't like selling. Well, why not? Well, salesmen are sharks and it's a dirty profession and so on. Well, I think that nothing's wrong with selling other than how you look at it. It's the world's oldest profession by about 5 minutes, because if you think about it, there was a negotiation immediately before the one you think is the oldest. That was a sale, like it or not. But sales is also what enables buyers to get what they want. They can't walk up to you and say, I want to buy this, if they have no idea whether you do it, what you do, or anything else. But in the real world, it's a process by which the salesperson finds out what the needs, wants, and desires of anybody else are, and enables those to be satisfied. Of course, in order to do that, you have to find those out, and you have to care enough to find out, and you have to know enough about who you want to sell to that you can have an idea about what those things are. But if you're not satisfying one of those, no one is going to buy anything. But also, part of the sales process is that when you get to the point of agreement, the salesman has to ensure that the customer is happy with and understands their purchase. If that's not the case, then very often they cancel later on, or they drop out, or you lose reputation because it wasn't quite what the customer thought or whatever. So in my view, it's always a really, really good idea to make sure that they understand it. If there's anything like finance or weird contract terms or whatever, it's a good idea to make those clear up front. Present them in a way that the customer understands that it's necessary, and make sure that they're happy with it, and not move on until you're sure that everybody's comfortable with what's going on. What's wrong with selling? Well, nothing unless it's done badly, and my pet hate is bad salespeople. And I give them a really good salespeople. I listen to them politely. I tell them why I can't buy if I can't. And we part friends because I respect a fellow professional. If they're doing it badly, I burn them and bounce them as hard as I can, because I don't need them messing up the profession for everybody else. So it's not about forcing anybody to do anything. I don't know what that's called, but it's not called sales. Promising what can't be delivered. And at Maltix, that's one of the things we need to be careful of. We need to make sure that we know that what we're agreeing to or what we're offering can actually be delivered. And that's a matter of checking with Will or I, or when the functions sort of improve, then the back office, sometimes you say, well, somebody wants this, can I sell it? How are we going to deliver it? And when you know it can be delivered, then you can sell it. Buying the sale with crippling discounts. Yeah, anybody can sell anything if they drop the price low enough. But if you're making a loss, what's the point? You'll just kill the company. And that tells me that you have no idea how to sell if you're forced to drop the price in order to sell it. You're in the wrong marketplace, or the market doesn't exist, or whatever. Lying about anything is the biggest sin in the book, because inevitably, sooner or later, you get found out. Being inauthentic, because your customer will sense immediately that you're not being authentic, and a tiny bell will go off in their limbic brain saying, danger, danger, danger. And half the time, they don't even know why that's happening. They just know that something's wrong, and it's probably you being authentic, which is probably code for lying, but let's not be too bad about it. And misrepresenting anything. Are there any penalty clauses? No, of course not. But if you read clause 530B7, then there may be. So these are what you don't do. And if you think that this is what salespeople do, then you're not in the game either. So what's the game really about? If you really want to know all about selling, this is what you have to get your head round. I am not asking you to do that on this particular session, and if you really want to get into it this deeply, then you and I need to have lots of long, intimate talks. But what is of interest, I suppose, this is about how you manage the sales process and the sales people. So this is about sales at corporate level. But actually, if you're a one-man band, this is corporate level for you. But metrics, because you have to measure everything. Otherwise, how do you know how you're doing? And these are all the different metrics you could get. And this will be available afterwards, so you can go back and look at this in detail. But if all of this is of interest, then book a call with me and we'll have an in-depth talk about how it all works. These are all the different places and ways that you can sell, because some of it's face-to-face, but a lot of it's not. And this is about using channels, telesales, multi-level marketing, franchises, partners, affiliates. So all I'm saying is, if you really want to know all about sales, this is kind of where you need to be. So the good news is that this is the kind of easy bit. Let me just move that out the way for now. Right. So this is about sales techniques. Now, again, I'm going to show you how what I think is the best way to sell the Maltix proposition. But just so you know that all these exist, it's worth just mentioning it. These are the phases of a sale. So you start here, in fact, with discovery. You find out what the needs are, then you work out who makes the decisions and who actually does it, and you know, what do you need to do the sale. You confirm it, you present it. You might deal with objections, but if you do it my way, then we avoid most of them. You agree that it works, you close it, and then afterwards you reassure them that they've done the right thing. And if there is no sale there, then you make a graceful exit and leave the door open. So that sounds like, well, look, it looks very much as though I can't do what you need today, you know, with the best will in the world, and I'm not going to force it, and I'm not going to try and sell it to you because clearly it's not a match right now. However, may I ask for two things? One, should you need what we're doing now, then please come back to me and I'll guarantee to be with you within 48 hours. And if we develop what you do need, may I come back to you and represent at that time? So in other words, you exit leaving all the doors open and respecting the fact that they've said no. You don't keep battering through objections, because that just makes everybody fed up, isn't the word I was going to use, but it does. Then there are things called closes, but if you're not going to be the kind of salesman that this presentation is not aimed at, then these are useful to know, but they're academic, because I'm avoiding almost all of these. But this is how you actually get the sale to happen if it's not running a very, very simple process in a very simple environment. I mean, ours is a slam dunk proposition, so most of this is unnecessary, but they exist and I can teach them. Face to face, this is all the different ways of selling. Spin I'm going to talk about later, because this is actually how you sell without selling much. This is where you get training from, and these are the personal considerations, and they're to do with attitude, mindset, and so on. So I'm going to pause for a second, and I'm going to be interactive for just a moment. Who here doesn't like the idea of selling? You can unmute if you like, or wave hands or whatever. Because this presentation came about because I'm told that some of the VAs don't like the idea that they have to sell things. But a VA runs their own business, do they not? And in that case, how do you run a business if you don't sell anything? Because the moment you put a promotion up so that somebody can come and buy things, you've actually gone through a sales process. It's not face to face, but it's a token. It's a call to action on a website. It's one of many things, but you are still involved in selling, whether you like it or not, because if you don't sell things, you don't have a business. So if you think you can have a business without somebody selling something, if you can't do it yourself, then you have to pay somebody else to do it. But at the end of the day, if something isn't sold, none of you gets to eat. And that's rather harsh, but there you go. So
we've got a comment here.
Yeah, go on.
From Elise. Is it Sam Elise or Elise Sam? I'm scared of selling. So there's a fear of selling in her heart. And sorry, I'm sure it's a male or female, I'm sorry, but scared of selling. Can we just talk about that for a second?
Yeah, Elise, thank you. You've reminded me of something I was going to say earlier. Okay. So Elise, can you unmute yourself, please?
Yeah, my pleasure. Sorry, it's 2 a.m. over in America. So how
Oh,
did you?
wow. Okay. So Elise, let me ask you a question. If you were doing this, but in fact, if you were doing what you do normally, yeah, does what you're doing make anybody's life better?
Oh, absolutely. In my opinion, I mean, you guys can argue that, but we produce and invent technologies.
Right. So if that's the case, does it make their lives easier?
Yes, it does. Financially speaking.
Does it make their lives happier?
Absolutely. When people are rich,
Does it,
they get happy.
does it make them more productive?
It does.
Are you lying to me?
I hope not. I don't think so. Mark
So
would probably
if
tell you if I was.
if that is the case, yeah, and you could tell somebody that you could do those things for them, and you could do that, I take it. You can tell them all the good things you can do for them, yes?
Yes.
And yet you decide that you're not going to tell them how much better their life could be. Is that a good thing or not?
I mean, the way that you're putting it, it makes me sound kind of like a piece of shit, to be honest with you. I'm not doing them a
So
justice.
what's the answer to not feeling like a piece of shit?
Probably letting them know what we have to offer.
Correct. And what's that process called?
It would be selling.
There you go. Now do you get it?
Absolutely.
Are you now going to just, but don't sell anybody, just tell them what you can do for them that makes their lives better.
I like that.
Be nice.
Yeah, a lot of the things you're saying are hitting home. So very well done, very well spoken. And thank you for kissing it, keeping it simple, stupid. You're absolutely right.
Oh, wait till you see the rest. This will blow your socks off. By the way, you can talk to me anytime, and yes, I do calls at 8, 9 o'clock in the evening UK time because I have various friends and clients in the States. But do you understand the point about mindset? Yeah?
Yeah. Yes, sir.
Find out what makes their lives better by asking them, and then tell them how what you do makes their lives better. The rest, the rest is, and we'll come to this later on, but the rest is dead easy, no? Right. So anybody else, and is anybody not squirming in their seats right now? Apart from me? Good. Shall we move on? So now we come to the bit which is specific to what we're doing at Maltix. And where are we? Yeah. So those of you who have smartphones, can you scan this QR, please? Because this is how we sell the Maltix services. And I'm using an Americanism and I'm calling it show and tell. I'm sure Elise will get show and tell instantly. So what I'm saying is that if you're in a sales situation and you're one of our clients, you've got one of these on your smartphone, but you could have it on a business card or a piece of paper or tatted on your forehead or on your jumper or whatever. It really doesn't matter. Well, at least not to me. So if you scan that, or if you're a dinosaur, the link is here for you to type in, but isn't it much quicker to scan it? And I normally slide my phone over the table, over a coffee and go, tell you what, scan that. Has everybody done that bit?
Yeah.
We all ready to go?
Yeah.
So that takes you to this link, and this should, right. Can anybody not see a blue thing with my smiley face on it?
Me? I can't open it, Morris.
You can't open it. Okay,
I've got it.
so we stop. I have to reshare. Bear with me.
I'm trying to do it from the link because obviously I'm on my phone already.
Yeah, you should. The link should just fire up.
Yeah, no, it's not having it. I can see a picture.
Okay, so you should be able to see. Can you now see on screen a tall, narrow blue thing?
Yeah.
Right. Okay. So this is what happens if you click that QR code, and this is actually where it takes you to. So this happens to be mine as marketing director of Maltix. The one on the front page of this presentation, if you scanned it, takes you to my Melville marketing thing, but more of that later. So if you now click on this grey button here that says read more, this tells you about what Maltix does, about how we reduce your energy bill, your energy usage and your coding by like 90%, how eco-friendly we are, how we do business, what our mission is, and so on. And I'll lead you to read that later. But as you scroll through this, you come to a button where you can share your details with me. So if you want me to call you back, click that and share your details. It will go into a CRM system and we can then talk to each other and I will understand what you do. This button, the Let's Chat button, will actually take you to our VA tribe, who will deal with almost anything you can ask about our products or services and many other things. And once you become a customer, this is your lifeline to changing things, because the QR code you've just come from won't change in years or decades, but the background can, and this is how you make those changes. And you can have a VA do it for you, or they'll send you the appropriate links to do it or whatever. The choice is yours, but the idea is you don't have to learn all the tech because we've done it for you already. Since this is my personal one, you can book a Zoom call with me on there, and you might want to do that for after the meeting if this is confusing. This is access to the knowledge base, which is about 500 articles and videos and climbing about everything we do. Then you come to the next section on the card, which if you do the read less button takes you straight to here. Now, each of these icons allows you to communicate with me via the appropriate channel: WhatsApp, Signal, telephone, email, Facebook, Instagram, not that I'm on it very much, LinkedIn I'm on all the time, X, Twitter, whatever, YouTube, a V card, and so on. Then we come here to a carousel. Now these, again, these are customized, so these are my particular ones, and I'm just waiting for the carousel to action. There we are. So so this carousel, in my case, this has got an invitation for funders, it's got access to the knowledge base, it's got questionnaires and so on, but yours will be very different because they'll have all the things that you need to do as part of your job. So then we come to a video of Luna. And again, this is a short video explaining what we do and why we do it and so on. And again, this is customized for each individual customer, but since this is me as marketing director, this is about us and what we do at Maltix. And then the fun part is when you come to these bars here. Now, these are links to all the services that we offer, and there are about to be another 2, I think. But the one we're in at the moment is the Maltix QR phone site. So why don't you click on this button here like I am, like that? So this takes you to another video about what Phone Site does for you. And Phone Site is the product we're in at the moment, okay? Now, of course, you might want to know what you get. So if you click on touch for what you get, again, this is various things with an example. Oh, Debbie, you're a star.
Ta-da.
Well, yeah, we do have real customers. So there's an example of a Phone Site link here, but if we click on what you get, so Phone Site, well, yeah, but what exactly is in Phone Site? So you can, so what it provides, by the way, it provides the business card, which is the lowest one, which is still the most active business card on the planet compared to what everybody else thinks is a business card. But nonetheless, in our terms, it's relatively simple. But so you get a business card as well, Zoom, Google Meet or Backdrop. And if you're selling this, then we can go through. So you get a username and password, you get your own URL, you get your logo, you get your bio, you get an elevator pitch video, you get 5 pages to explain the business, and we're in one of them on mine. Yeah. A fully branded phone site, which we're in. Examples, social media links, email links, contacts, the carousel that I mentioned, 5 pages, branded QR, so you can print those on business cards, and we give you the media so that you can just print your cards directly. You get a background to use in online meetings. We'll brand it to your colors. You get a choice of carcass is the bit that surrounds the QR code. You get a choice of those and a URL. And then you have the option of a real human being onboarding it for you, because obviously you have to supply a load of details to make this happen. And we give you a real human being to do it for you, so you don't have to bother, and 24/7 wherever you are in the world. And then there's all of this, and then there's a goodie bag. So if we go back, which I need to do that.
Back arrow. Yeah.
And then back arrow. Can you still see where I'm at? We're still on here, yeah? Okay, so if we go back into the phone site one, and if you like what you've seen, then you might want to order the product. If you want to know more about it, you can go to the knowledge base and read to your heart's content. But if somebody says, well, that's great, how do I order it? What does it cost? You go there to set up the order, and you just fill it all in, and it gives you the price. It gives you the pricing, and it gives you all the different options. So they can either just do this in their own time, or you can talk them through it. If you're in VA mode and you're selling it, then you can do the whole thing from here. Now, I don't know whether you've realised, but I've just gone through a sales presentation on the whole of what Maltix offers in just under 5 minutes, and we're 5 or 6 layers down into this, and any of the things I show you has something like the same number of layers underneath it. So if anybody imagines that this is like an ordinary QR code, I think I've just shown you that it's not even close to that. Yeah?
Yeah.
And literally, when we say you can do your business from your mobile phone, this is what we're talking about. So, and that's really a quick tour around what we do. But this is what I mean by show and tell. So those of you who are selling the Maltix proposition, or whatever it is that you're selling, go through this several dozen times until you can be at least as fluid as I am, and ideally better. Know where every bit goes, know what the sequence is, know what to say about each bit. But again, you're explaining to them how they can use it and what they get out of it, because people buy on the basis of what's in it for me. And you'll notice that I will have been talking in terms of, well, you can do this and you can do that and you can do that. Not we provide this, we provide that. Yeah? So I'll leave the sharing there for the moment, and hopefully we'll go back to this one. So why don't I pause at that point and ask if there's any clarifications needed or questions or whatever. Are we either blown away by it so that we're speechless, or it was clear enough for you? How am I doing?
Sonia said, I didn't think I liked selling, but realised it's actually what I'm doing.
Right, so. Right, so. However, after a while, you actually get to enjoy it. And the moment you go through, you do this, and somebody says, well, actually, yeah, I'd love to buy it. It's the greatest feeling in the world. You know, it just makes your day for ages. So for me, it's worthwhile. Okay, yes, Michelle.
For me, the most daunting part is to get the person to the point where they want to see what we offer. I think many people are afraid of the rejection, the no thank you, I'm not interested.
Okay, let's deal with that. If you say to somebody, well, because, you know, one of the questions is, well, yeah, but what do you do? What's wrong with saying, well, look, the easiest thing is for me to show you and talk you through it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Now, if they don't want to do that, then the answer is thank them for their time, move on and find somebody that does. Don't bother. If they're not interested, if they're not interested enough for you to say, well, let me show you how this works. And, you know, and every so often you stop and go, do you want to see more, or have you had enough? And the moment they say no, you say, thank you very much indeed. If you change your mind, get back to me, but we're done, and move on. Go for the no. If they don't want it, don't push it. It's not worth your while or your emotional energy or whatever trying to persuade them. Just move on and find somebody else, because that's easier.
You know, don't waste time with somebody who's just going to waste your time.
Somebody can what?
Don't waste your time on somebody who's only going to waste your time.
Well, exactly. So if they don't want it, then move on. You know, if they want to waste my time, then. But again, this is why I like to do it on Zoom or face to face, and why I like to see people, because you can very quickly tell whether they're into it or not. And it's often worth saying, well, it looks to me as though you're not into it. So is it worth continuing? You actually, you know, is there a reason for you wanting to know more? Because the other thing is they might be a competitor trying to find out what you're doing.
Also true, yeah.
So, but don't be afraid of the no, because, well, I don't know. How many times have you turned down somebody who asked you for a date?
Me
More
personally.
than once?
Yeah.
Yeah. Also, if you go into a clothes shop and you start looking around on the rails, if someone comes up to you and say, "Oh, can I help you?" Say, "No, it's fine." That's what you say. So it's about turning it round.
Yeah.
So it's like someone coming into your shop. They have a look. They look in the window, and they either decide to come in or they decide not to come in. So if you think of it that way, and it's what you do in normal everyday life, you window shop. Sometimes you go into the shop, sometimes you don't. So it's a similar kind of thing.
Well, the parallel to that in our world would be, okay, well, I'll tell you what, let me leave you to click through it at your leisure. If you need to know more, or you want to buy, or anything else, although you can actually buy it without talking to me ever again, you can just do it online. But if you need me for anything, get back to me and I'll help you, which is exactly what you do in a clothes shop. You say, well, yeah, okay, if you see something, come and find me. Yeah. Okay, Rachel.
You mentioned a few minutes ago about it might be a competitor looking to see what we're doing. How would we be able to identify that? What do we do? And what do we do in that circumstance?
You kind of get a feeling for that's what they're doing, because they're interested, but not in a buying way. So quite early on, you know, maybe after the first description, when you say, well, this is where you book a Zoom meeting, what you might want to do, and you might want to use it at any point in the thing if you're not certain if their body language tells you something, but you say something like, is this a service that you can see yourself using?
That's a good one.
Now they can lie, but you know they're lying. Or they can say, well, not really. You say, okay, so you know, brackets before I say no. So what you know, what makes you say that? And if the answer is remotely sensible, okay, fine. So thank you very much indeed for your time, but you know where we are. Get back to us if you change your mind.
Cool.
Brackets, sod off, end brackets.
Thanks, Boris.
You know, don't seriously. If it's exactly like dating. Some guy comes up to you and says, well, do you want a date? You don't have you shouldn't have the slightest qualms about going, sorry, not for me. Yeah.
Yeah. I
Now,
don't like looking at your shoes.
if he's really got the bottle, he'll go, whoa, well, maybe another time. And you may go, only if hell freezes, or you may go, yeah, maybe, depending on where you're at. Yeah. But you judge the situation by the time, because the other thing about selling is somebody may say no. Now, they may say no because it's not for them. They may say no because they don't yet have the money, but they might be interested. Or they may say no because the answer is yes, but in a month's time, 6 months' time, a year's time, when I get my next promotion or whatever, which is why you leave the door open and say, okay, clearly right now this isn't for you, but here are my details. If at any time in the future things change, please get back to me and I'll look after you. So I'll come on to this later, but you always leave the door open. You know, politeness doesn't cost us very much at all, usually. So, anybody else before we move on?
No, I was just saying that yesterday, Morris, I was talking to a broker, a lady. I'm going to introduce her to Debbie and Sonia. Actually, she's a lovely lady in London, and she's run a paper-based business for many years. So business contract, everything was paper-based. And she, for the first time, realised she could do the whole thing on her phone, and she literally took over the sale herself.
Yeah, that happens to me as well. Halfway through, people go, well, how much is it? Yeah. And that basically says, I want to buy it. And you go, well, it's only 25 quid a month. So, you know, it might cost you 100 to set up. It might not. Right. So, let me move this out the way for now. Right. So, but what if you don't have your smartphone with you, or you don't have a Maltix account? I mean, I don't know why not, but let's for the sake of the argument say that you don't right now. Yep. So let's go old school. Now, Sales 101 says that in any sale, you start the whole transaction by creating rapport. In other words, you find something that links that indicates a commonality between you and the person you're talking to. Sorry? Yeah. So, I mean, back in the days of double glazing, we were told not to spend less than 20 minutes doing this building before we even mentioned windows. And it could be as simple as oh, is that your dog? I had a dog once. Or what lovely wallpaper, or, you know, whatever. But and we'll come back to the questioning bit later. But if you're running the Huthwaite spin thing, you start out with situation questions. So, oh, and you know, have you come far today? Have you lived here long? Oh, that's an interesting picture. Do you like impressionists as well? Because I do. Yeah, all of those things, and you find something that will create a link between you and them. Now, if you've done your job properly, before the call starts or before the interaction starts, you'll have looked them up on LinkedIn or social media or both, and you will know something about them where you can say, actually, I kind of do relate to you in a way because we've got this, and this in common. Yeah. This is about building rapport, because people buy from people, which is Sales 101. So the connection, so we start here with, no, we don't. We start here with connecting. And this is all about the first impression you make. So if you're grumpy and in a bad mood, don't make the call. And again, I can take you through guided visualizations if you need to, that when you start the call, you look confident, happy, whatever, irrespective of how you're feeling. But that's for people who are serious about selling stuff. But people will decide what you're like and whether they're the person you want to do business with in seconds. And it's about how you approach them. It's about how you relate to them. It's about how you respect them. And whilst I have a lot of Asperger's, so I don't read signals, most people read signals, and women read micro signals at levels I don't even understand. And they will decide to like you or not like you on basis of tiny, tiny signals. So go into it with a mindset that says, well, look, I'm here to see if I can help you make your life better. If you have that in your mind when you go into it, that will come over in your first interactions. Hi, I'm Morris. I'm here to help. Is kind of what you're saying. It might not sound like that, but if that's your mindset, I'm here to find out if I can do something good for you. If that's your mindset, people will pick up on it and it helps, or rather, if you don't, you're dead. Yeah. Exploring is then when you get deeper into the conversation to find out what they need and see whether what you offer meets what they need, because if it doesn't, we're back to elegant exits. If you can't do what they want, yes, I could teach you techniques to sell it to hardcore sell it to them and everything else, but they'll wake up tomorrow morning, the stardust will wear off and they'll cancel. So, and then they'll hate you. So why bother? Why not do it right in the first place? If now is not the time, if it's not for them, be polite, say thank you and walk away and leave the door open. Collaborating is actually working with your customer to find a solution that meets their needs. And again, if you can't do that, then you tell them as early as you can, because then they will think of you next time. And even if it's not for them, they may well recommend it to their friends if you haven't alienated them, if you've shown that you want to work with them, and if you've shown them that you have their best interests at heart. Bad selling is where it's blindingly obvious that you only have your interests at heart and you don't care about them. They're just a resource. A, you shouldn't be in the profession, and B, you don't deserve the sale, do you? So it's about, so I'm afraid you actually need a considerable degree of empathy here, and you need to be open to understanding where they're coming from. Now, if where they're coming from is unreasonable, then very quickly realize that and say, well, I'm sorry, clearly what we're doing is not for you. So thank you. And let me know. There is even a reversal that and I won't deal with that here in detail, but if you really want to get into how to sell, there is a thing that says if you're not sure about whether they're going to sell or not, you take it away again. Well, look, from the way you're reacting, it looks very much to me as though this is beyond your budget, or it's just not going to work. So, and I agree, it's probably for people with a lot more money or a lot more influence or whatever. So thank you very much indeed for your time, but obviously it's not for you. They would rather tell you that it's not for them than have you tell them it's not for them. And sometimes they'll go, well, yeah, okay. And other times they'll go, no, wait a minute, hang on, we can. And I sell on we could do it with Maltix. So I'll leave you to think about how you might implement this. But I always offer 3 solutions. I offer the rock bottom one, dirt cheap price, but it will just about do what's needed. But it's the economy version, the Stockwell of the Tesco world. Then I have the version which I think represents the best value for money for the solution you're getting. So the most effective solution, the best value for money that will really do the job properly, and that's the middle solution. And then I say to them, there is, however, a much more expensive solution if you have the money and if it's for you, but it's only really for the really serious people. And this is the gold-plated, mink-lined version of what we do. And this is it with all the bells and whistles, all the add-on extras, every goodie in the book. And it's yours for only this staggering amount of money. But I do understand it's very expensive. So if that's not for you, I really will understand. And let's go for the one that I think is best value. And you would be astonished how many times they go for the third option, having told you they don't have any money. But that's a discussion for another day, but park it at the back of your mind. And if you want to know how to do that, I can spend time and coach you through that. So confirming, so they say yes, and I'm inclined to say, okay, so you said yes, and we're going to do this, this, and this at this time at this price. Is that's my understanding of what I think we're agreeing. Is that your understanding? because they may not have understood something, in which case, well, no, I thought it was like this. And you go, okay, so do you need it to be like that? And can we do it? And so on. So you make sure that what you're offering and what they think they're buying are exactly the same, and that they're happy with it. So, okay, so we've agreed that we're doing this and this and this to this price and this time scale and so on. Are you sure you're okay with that? Is that what you really want? Yes. Okay. Now let's hit the sales button. Yep. So having done that and they've signed up or clicked the button or whatever, then either at the time or perhaps the next day, you give them a call or you send them an email or whatever, but a call is better, and you thank them for the order. So thank you very much indeed for ordering our phone site. Will's working on it as we speak, and you should have it within the next 24 hours. And you're having this and you're having the backdrop for your meetings, and you're having the version to print your cards from, and you're having this and you're having this. Yes, is that what's happening? Yeah. And I think you're going to really, and then you reassure them. So I think it's a great choice. I think from what we talked about, your business, it's going to do the job for you. And at least my opinion is that it's a really great choice. It's going to be really useful. But how do you feel about it? And they will usually then say, no, you're absolutely right. I think this is a great thing. And that gets past something called buyer's remorse, which is where they think, well, have I done the right thing? Yeah. Have I done the right thing? Well, no. Well, maybe yeah. Well, maybe no. And they go round in circles. So if you then reassure them that they've made a good, it's invented by a company called Huthwaite, and it is their IP. But basically what happens is that you, through the whole process, you largely only ask questions. And as we were talking earlier about rapport, you start with situation questions that initially are nothing to do with what you're selling or talking about, but you gradually move those until you move them so that you're then discovering where they're at and what you're doing in the environment surrounding whatever it is that's under discussion. Yeah. And so you get to situation questions. So how are you actually selling at the moment? Oh, you're using sales funnels. Well, how's that going for you? Well, not very well at all. Okay. So do you have you tried anything else? Well, no. Well, what would happen if you did? And so on. So you move those, and then you come to the point of so that's a good example, because you come on to problem questions. You say, well, so it's taking you a lot of time and effort, and you're not actually making any sales. Is that an issue? Okay, well, yeah. And is it an issue that you don't actually build any connection or rapport with somebody? So once they've used your funnel, they never make a repeat sale because you haven't established a relationship. Is that an issue? Well, yeah, they don't seem to stay in the group for very long. They run away again. Yeah. So you move on to problem questions. But of course, the problem questions will then throw up implications. So churn is, so if we're talking about this sales funnel model, so churn is an issue. So you spend lots of time recruiting people, and then they go away, and I recruit a load more. So the same people don't stay for very long, and they don't sign up for the second year and so on. So by implication, that seems to me that you're spending a hell of a lot of money doing this, and you're not getting a return. Is that a true statement of implication? Well, yeah. So what are the long-term prospects for your business when you've spoken to most of the people in the available market that might want to talk to you? What do you do then? Yep. And from that you say, well, if this carries on, what are you going to need? And the answer to that might be income, it might be whatever. Now, I'm going through this very quickly, and if this is something you want to do, then if you go to Huthwaite, you can download a white paper which explains in more detail what they do and why they do it. And then you can find out the mouth-watering prices they charge for doing it. But when I did this, this was about 9 weeks training to do this completely seamlessly. But Mark was right. I was working in very high ticket. You know, I was, even in the 70s, I was charging hundreds of thousands for a system, and literally used to do this. Used to go through it and say, well, what do you need this to do? Yeah, but does that mean that this isn't right and this needs fixing and this needs doing? Well, yeah. And does that mean that it causes these problems? And if you get a power outage, you can't do this and you can't do that. We go, yeah. So is it true that you could do with something that did this, 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 and this? Well, funny you mentioned that, because this is what we can do about that is this, 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 this. And then you get to the point of saying, so you've told me that this is the situation and it's causing these problems, and that means this, and that means that you need that. And I think I've shown you that we do this, this, and this, which does that and delivers the things that meet your needs. Do you agree that I've done that? Yeah. And is the price and the timing right? Yeah. So what you then do is you say, so what would you like to do next? Because if you've gone through what they need and you've shown them that you can deliver on that, then the question is, great, so what would you like to do next? And then you shut up. Because the next person to speak is the one that does the action. And if they say, well, what do I do next? Or how do I order it? Or whatever, what do I do next? Well, I go through an exercise where I define exactly what's involved. I submit the price, you sign that, and we can start the process Thursday morning, and it's a 6-week lead time, so you should have it in place before Christmas. Yeah. That's how that bit of it works. And again, I've gone through that very fast indeed, because if you're interested in doing this, then what we'll do is we'll set up another one of these meetings and we'll role play a situation where we have a brief in advance and I can show you how to actually do it. So this is about spin. So first thing, this is IP. So I can't do too much of what I can tell you how to do it, and I can show you how to do it. But in terms of documentation, but you can look it up and there's the white paper for it. And finally, and this comes back to Elise, if what you do helps people, makes their lives easier, makes them happier, more effective and productive, and if you've discovered that they need what you do to achieve that, why would you not help it to achieve those things for themselves? And don't sell them anything, just help. Here endeth the session.
That's very good, Maurice.
Yeah, well done. Yeah, really interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's
Thank you.
yeah, pretty intense and pretty dense. But what do you think?
What do I think?
Yeah.
Yeah, good.
Was it useful? Was it helpful? Was it?
Yeah,
Yes,
it's more
very
useful for what I do.
Yeah.
It's
And I can tailor
ironically,
it, yeah.
it's good for what most people do. I mean,
Yeah.
that's the weird part.
Yeah, because it's just show and tell, isn't it? That's
Yeah.
I think that's the key words to show and tell. So would you like to come to a presentation? I like to show you and tell you.
Yeah.
Show you what I do.
And you can do that through your phone site and your events. You can do it on
Yeah.
events.
Right, yeah. Rather than save, show.
Yeah. Let me help you.
Yeah, let me help you. Yeah. Let me help you.
It comes down to the mindset. If you start with the mindset that you're going to help somebody make their life easier,
Mhm.
and you're not treating them as a resource, you're not exploiting them,
Mhm.
you're not taking advantage, you're just there to make their lives easier.
Yeah.
When we say we make doing your business easier, as a Maltix thing, that's precisely what we mean.
Yeah.
So why, why would you be afraid of doing that? Why would you have difficulty doing that? So is everybody silent because they're shocked, or because it was so amazing they've nothing to say, or what? Because I'm interested in feedback.
It was overwhelmingly amazing.
Thank you. Good.
That's
That was
definitely
kind of the
right.
idea.
Well, this is based on social intercourse, really, isn't it? It's about engaging a client as a real human being. And, there's nothing worse than somebody pitching to you, reading it off a piece of paper. That's terrible. This is about interacting, about listening and reacting to what the client tells you. Everybody's got a problem. What keeps you up at night,
And I think the thing about, well, it's not that I don't like sales, it's that I'm scared of sales, was it got to the point. And that was really great how you answered that and then took it forward, because I think that is something that a lot of us feel. It's like, oh God, it's sure, we can probably do it. We can probably sell coals to Newcastle, but how many of us don't have that fear to actually do it when it's not something that we're used to?
Well, if you want to, do you know how you sell? Do you literally know how you sell coals to Newcastle?
Apart from taking it all away from them and then selling it.
No.
No.
Okay, so hang on a minute. You're in Newcastle. You're surrounded by coal. What's wrong with theirs? Well, it's absolutely crap for making specialized steels. Funny you should mention that. I have this variety of coal that has been shown to work perfectly with the following range of steels. Would it be worth having a conversation about that?
How
much is it? Well, it's about the same as you're paying delivered in Newcastle, but I get it from Poland. Trust me, easy.
That's it though, isn't it? It's like it's just getting beyond that fear to the fact that it is not so hard as we make out because of the fear.
And you want to know how far you can take it? Well, look,
No,
I've got these wonderful fridges, but I live in an igloo.
No,
okay. Well, why don't you leave it outside with the door open and just have the radiator on the back inside the igloo? I mean, okay, after a while in selling, you find that there's always an angle. But if you can match what they need, want, or desire, and you can show them that you can, and if you can show them they can't get it anywhere else, even better, then why would they not? It's not. What you can't do is ram something down somebody. Well, what you shouldn't be able to do is ram something down somebody's throat. But believe me, having been right out at the bleeding edge of this kind of stuff, I can manipulate people in ways that they will buy something pretty much irrespective of whether they need it or how they feel or whatever. But what I know is that 3 days later, they will wake up and the stardust will wear off and they'll cancel. Or they'll tell all their mates that you're a shark and you won't sell anything in their area ever again. So it's actually as counterproductive as it is immoral. So I kind of stopped doing it. Just because you can doesn't mean you have to. It's like that. But I'm just hoping that this has helped the people that did rock up to this thing to think differently about the relationship between them and their customers, because in the tango world, a lady who's a superb tango teacher, but she's also a professional psychologist, did a lecture on how to get a dance in tango, because we invite all sorts of people and get hurt when they refuse us and so on. And it was very long and complicated and very much about the psychology. But one of the things she said was And we have people in the room who said, well, if I'm paying to go to a dance, then the organizer should dance with me. And she said, absolutely not. Their job is organizing dances, not dancing for you, or their job is teaching you. That doesn't mean that you're entitled for them to dance with you, because why would they enjoy it if they're so much better than you are? But what she then said was, but you can't treat another human being as a resource to be used or exploited.
No, you can't. No.
Now, if you look at the transaction through that lens, and by the way, if you look at a sales funnel, that is looking at a bunch of people to be exploited. That's why sales funnels they work in the short term, they don't work in the long term.
So why is it all we see is sales funnels and massive? You need to get 10,000 followers on Facebook without that.
Because it's quick and dirty and it works in the short term. And by the time you discover that there's a problem, the person that sold it to you is long gone.
Right.
Because their sales funnel has burned out as well, and they're now on to a different one.
But
so they move from Facebook to LinkedIn to Signal to Telegram to Instagram to, and every time they tell the same story, and then 2 months later, 5 months later, they're not getting any more traction because there's only a limited number of people will fall for that. Sorry, will be interested in that stuff.
What about qualifying a lead? Because a prospect is not a lead. I put it in the notes earlier. A prospect is not a lead. How do you qualify a prospect to become a lead, Maurice?
So you responded to something from Maltix. What was it about that made you think that we might be useful?
Using my most trusted, because if we're sending up buddy up messages, basically.
Right. So you've responded to. Okay. So thank you for getting back to me. Do you need, what more can I tell you about how Maltix will make your business life easier?
Yeah. Okay, so
now, if they say nothing, then you probably got the initial message wrong, but they're not going to do anything.
So then you can not necessarily turn off a lead, but just put it into a newsletter program. And if they want to unsubscribe, they can.
That's why, if you look at the very complicated diagram about the flows, that's why that's a possibility. Yeah. If they say, well, yes, it's interesting, but I don't have the budget. Yeah. Then you're back to questions. So, well, yeah, but what do you think this is going to cost?
Yeah.
Because there's one at 10 quid, there's one at 25 quid, there's one at 49 quid, and there's one at 89 quid. Which of those is too much for you?
Yeah.
And you can always start at a lower one and upgrade later.
Yeah.
If the lowest one, and if, well, look, for this one, this is 10 quid and this is the functionality. Is that all you need, or do you need a little bit more because you could do it perfectly well at that? Well, this one's at 25 quid and it has all this extra functionality. So do you need that one, or can you live with the lower one?
Yeah.
Bearing in mind, you can always upgrade.
So
I think you're finding out about, it's always finding out about them and what they need to do. Well, what are you actually trying to, so what would you want to achieve with it? Would you want to be able to present to somebody any place, anytime, anyhow, just by sliding your mobile phone across the table? Is that what you want?
Yeah. Okay. Because there is an assumption that a prospect will become a lead, but actually there's something in between that's missing.
Only if you qualify it.
That's
so if the phone site was like 100 quid to set up and 25 quid a month, would that be a challenge financially?
Yeah.
It's got all this functionality. Do you actually need most of that?
Yeah.
Oh, did you want the CRM? Did you want it to talk to a CRM as well?
Okay, let's just talk about Sonia for a second. If Sonia's looking to recruit women who own their own business.
Yep.
into the Next Women program. Presumably you've got 40 or 50 women, Sonia, that you can talk to.
Yeah.
I think that conversation would start with, and ironically, it starts in exactly the same way that Utility Warehouse does. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think I've got a business service that could help you do your business better. Take a look at it and see whether it'll help you run your business. And we do the show and tell we've just gone through, and you can do that. And oh, and by the way, you can plug your downline into it, whatever it might be. Yeah. Oh, if once you've got this up and running and you really like it, given that you're already in UW, surprise, surprise, Maltix have an affiliate program as well, so that you can get an override if you sell their services for them. But that's for the future. Let's get you used to using it so you understand how it works, and so just how good it really is. Then let's talk about affiliates.
Yeah. Okay.
Because until they use it,
Yeah.
A, they won't get it, and B, they probably won't understand it well enough to sell it. Because this is mind-bending to get your head around. I think everybody present will agree with that.
Yeah.
And yet, once you do, it's kind of, oh my God, is it only 25 quid a week? Yeah, sorry, month. Should be a week, but there you go.
But with Mike Jarrett's,
Shall I let me stop the recording because